Hello, hello. Kurt, you're good to go.
All right, thank you. Good morning. We are about to start the BZA meeting for February 22nd, 2022. And I will be presiding today as the vice chairman. I'm Kurt Stevenson, and we're going to start with the prayer. So, our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, for this gathering. We ask that you be with us and oversee our thoughts and our decisions. Thank you for this opportunity to serve in this community. We give you blessings for all that we do. In your heavenly name we pray. Amen. At this time, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. All stand, please. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The next item on the agenda will be the roll call.
Absolutely. Lisa Hawks,
Here.
Corey Belander,
Here.
Jerry Stam,
Here.
Kurt Stevenson,
Here.
and John Zimmerman. Thank you.
You're welcome. Item number 4 on the agenda will be the approval of the January 25th, 2022 BZA board minutes. Those have been sent to the board in advance of the meeting. I hope we've had a chance to review.
Is it the 25th or the 23rd? Because it says 23rd in the minutes.
I didn't catch that. Thank you. Double check.
Oh, wait, that's a different month.
That's November.
Yeah. I was looking at that number.
It's January
January.
25th.
I'm sorry?
It is January 25th.
I make a motion, we accept the minutes from our January 25th board meeting.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and second. Okay, roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Lisa Hawks,
Yes.
Corey Belander,
Abstain.
Jerry Stam,
Yes.
and Kurt Stevenson.
Yes. The next item on the agenda is the internal BZA rule change for mailings. At this point in time, I'm going to ask council to speak.
Recently, during the COVID pandemic, we registered certified mail was not often returned. A lot of times, mail carriers would just write COVID on it and send it back. Understandably
Right.
so. I mean, and that still goes on to some degree. It is up to the BZA, it is up to the Plan Commission to determine how to provide direct notice to interested parties. You have three ways of doing that right now. You send them certified return receipt mail, you put a sign in the yard, and you put general notice in the newspaper. Certified mail is very expensive compared to proof of mailing. Proof of mailing is usually $1 or $2. Certified is up to $9. More for your consideration than anything, but you can change your rules to your current rules only allow certified return receipt mailing to put people on notice. You could do proof of mailing. You could change your rules to allow petitioners to provide that notice through proof of mailing. The post office will give you you'll have documentation that the mailing went out, but there's nothing that automatically returns. Now, again, practically speaking, there are a lot of times where some things don't come back. A person may not pick it up. It may be, 10 days. A lot of times isn't enough, as our post offices are slower than they were before the pandemic. So it's up to this board, it's up to the Plan Commission what kind of rules they want to make to determine how to notify the interested parties. If you'd like, we can put together a resolution for your review to change your rules, or you can keep them as is. But that's something that could lower expense of petitioners going forward, and something I was asked to bring to your attention.
Okay. I have a couple of questions, if I may. So the planning commission right now has a set of rules that are we in alignment with them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the mailings that get sent out, would you identify, when we have a subject property, the area that we're sending that mailing to?
Mm-hmm.
What, by definition, who gets that mailing?
I think it's 300 feet from
Of the subject property?
of the subject parcel.
Okay.
Yes. And that too can be changed. And it may be, I don't know off the top of my head, but that is a set amount by our rules that you define how, the state law says you guys shall define what an interested party is.
Okay.
Ever since I've been here, that number has not changed. I think it's 300 feet, Kurt.
Or two property owners.
Or
Whichever-
two, yes.
Or whichever is the less. Two property owners or 300 feet.
Yes.
So in the rural area, it could be 300 feet.
You got a big enough farm, theoretically, you wouldn't
You would
have
have
to
anybody.
notify anybody,
Yeah.
but. So more for informational than anything else, the Plan Commission will take a look at that too at their March meeting. Something for you to consider. If you'd like to direct me to draft something for a resolution for your March meeting, I'll do so. Or if you just want to think about it, that's fine too. Or say no, that's fine.
But no decision is needed today with respect to,
No, sir. This is not a urgent matter. I know that in practice, Director Newman had been informing some petitioners to send them out certified, or rather proof of mailing, not in direct, doesn't comply exactly with our rules. Could get us caught up in a lawsuit. That's something that would be brought up. So regardless, we either need to change the rules to reflect practice or change practice.
and from your perspective, would you, from my seat, my perspective, I think there needs to be an element of consistency between us and planning commission.
Yes, absolutely.
I believe whatever decision they come up with, we need to review to make sure, but I think that they ought to be consistent.
That will make your planning department very happy to
All
have
right.
consistency.
I think that would be very important for us to, but that's my opinion, and I'm one of five, so.
And I have the newer rules that I've seen drafted are using certificate of mailing rather than certified mail.
Okay.
That's all I have.
All right, well, thank you. All right, we will move on to the agenda. The first petition that we'll be looking at today is petition 2021 SU-007. This is one that we have had a chance to probably see a couple, three times now, and unfortunately for some delays, I think we spoke last meeting that we're going to make this the first item on the agenda today, and so, Jeff, when you're ready, I'll give you the microphone and the podium back.
Sure. And so you said, are you talking about the Byerly petition?
No, this would, I should bring up the Mr. Lopez.
Okay. Yes, special use 007. First off, board, I'd like to introduce, for those who may not know her, this is Rachel Christensen. Rachel has been retained by the Plan Commission as the interim planning director during Mr. Newman's absence. Rachel is currently works for HWC, firm out of Indianapolis. Prior to that, Rachel was the town of Pendleton planning director. She's local. She's from Madison County, lives in Madison County. Kids go to the schools here in Madison County, so she knows the area pretty well. I've worked with her in the past when she was the planning director and I was the Pendleton town attorney. She's a problem solver as well as someone that can read the law. So I think we'll do really well with her. Today, though, is her first day in the position, and so even though she's been working for an hour, she doesn't have her staff reports done yet. And the first request is the special use by Mr. Lopez, Fidel Lopez. What would the board like to do? Would it like to hear additional evidence here today?
I think there's a lot here.
Okay. Would anyone like to speak on the Lopez petition? For or against? What you have in front of you, I believe, and Stacy, correct me, is it the special use or the variance or both?
It's special use first and the variance.
Okay, the special use is a request to keep materials for a landscape business on the property. This, to adopt a special use, you must make the following findings. You must find whether the special use would be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. Will the requirements and development standards set forth in the district for such exception be met? And will the proposed use subvert and permanently injure other property uses in the same district and vicinity? And will the proposed use be consistent with the character of the zoning district and the comprehensive plan? A special use, as you guys know, is a allowable use, but only in a certain zoning district, but only upon approval of this board. You are allowed to put reasonable conditions should you approve the special use, and those would be recorded along with any approval. We have heard presentation and evidence on this. I don't know which way the board is leaning. I can, it may be appropriate for board discussion at this point.
I think that would be a great idea at this time. I believe we met, was it 2 months ago on this to begin with? And then we had a meeting that we missed, and we missed having them on the agenda last week through the timing, if my memory serves me correct. So it could be.
The variance was tabled, the special use is new.
So this is new
This is
on
the
the,
new
okay.
one, yes. The variance was tabled from 2 months ago.
Okay. So I stand corrected. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So with regards to the special use,
And I might add that Brad did tell me on the special use that they needed to hold off until they got their prior
issues.
additional things that they had to do. So that's why the special use is new.
So the properties come into compliance is why the special use is on here now? Is that part of it?
Yes, that was part of the stipulations at the last meeting, to verify that. We do have the county inspector here as well that has gone out and inspected the property, if anybody wants to do it.
I'm almost of the opinion that we ought to probably address the item number 2 on the agenda first, which was regards to the variance before we talk about special use.
Very well. The variance that's requested is.
And I think if we address that becomes the bigger of the two issues, in my opinion, the variance, because that may change the need for the special use.
And if you recall, the variance is a request to build a 2-story home with the living space on the 2nd floor with the garage on the 1st floor. That does require action of this board on a development variance. And your findings on that. 3, will the approval be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of your community? 2, will the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance be affected in a substantially adverse manner? And will the strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance result in any practical difficulty in the permitted use of the property?
And our current zoning ordinance requires at least the first floor have 40% occupancy of the primary residence. The proposal, the variance he's asking for, the petitioner's asking for, is the ground floor to have 0 living space and that be all garage for storage of vehicles and material.
That's my understanding, sir, yes.
So I believe the thing that we need to address as a board, first of all, is the variance before, because I think if we address this and if we agree to allow petitioner to move forward, that may need, then we get to address the special use. If by chance we agree not to permit the variance, then that may just make null and void the special use too.
That's
So-
correct. It may not be needed.
Yeah.
Legally speaking, the third finding on the variance, the practical difficulty is the one that would, in my opinion, be the most difficult for them to hit. And maybe we can get some more evidence on that, because the practical difficulty means there's something about that parcel that is unique, that you simply can't build it to the way we'd like it
Right.
to and maybe there is, but maybe we can hear some more evidence on it. Because we'd like it to be is not a practical difficulty, because it is more, because it makes more sense financially is not a practical difficulty. But maybe there is a practical difficulty, and we get some more evidence from the petitioner or his agents to talk about that and give us something we might be able to make a finding on.
Okay.
Pete McNamee. The practical difficulty on it is that the planning board issued a building permit for the project. And we started the project. And then it didn't meet compliance. And so the building permit basically got null and void. Now to do it, we've gone through rezoning, we've gone through the Board of Technical Review, we've been in 6 meetings now, I guess, in here, starting back in September. That's when it first got tabled, because at that time, the planning board told us a process that we needed to go through, so we started the process, but then we couldn't even do it because the zoning was all wrong. So based on bad information, we've spent a lot of money and a lot of time on this. Now, I don't know that really means anything in the big picture, but we're asking to build a basement with the living space above it, with the garages being the basement basically just above ground, because the ground level is wet. So we don't have the option of putting a walkout basement in it, but that's basically the same thing as we're asking for here. We're asking for a building that stands above grade and has parking below, living space above.
You're referring to the building permit being issued. When the building permit was applied for, was the plans with the garage underneath it at that time?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so
Absolutely
in
not.
fairness, they did not issue the permit in error. They issued the permit based off of the information they were given.
The building permit was in error because we couldn't build it, even without the living space, and stay in the comprehensive plan at that time. That was brought up at the first meeting by Brad, that we were out of the comprehensive plan with the building to start with. Because there was no living space on the property.
So that would be an accessory before the primary.
Correct.
Okay.
And we hadn't come before the board to ask for permission to do that.
The original petition, or the original building permit that came in was for an accessory structure. Along the way, Mr. Lopez then decided that he wanted to put living quarters in that barn, which we said it's not allowed unless you're gonna have to change it, and then you have to meet those requirements with the engineering plan, and that's
how it all started.
how it all started, so.
If it helps, I have the technical review board's notes here is what they recommended for when we ask for a variance, if it helps you in your guidelines at all. I don't know if it does, but here's a copy of them if you want to look at it.
Sure, that'd be fine, thank you. Did you sign in by chance?
I did.
Okay, thank you. I didn't see you. All right. Anyone from the audience like to speak? The floor is open at this time. And if you would, you come up, would you please state your name and where your address, and then sign in as well, please?
Name's Anthony Nunley. Address is 2302 North Anderson, 150 West. I am due north of the said property that we're talking about. Yeah, the issue we're having with it is the whole variance of the steps that he's taken wasn't correctly done. My issue is there is a house, a 2-story house with a basement that sits on half-acre lot that is connected to that. What is his plans with that 2-story house? Because I do know, originally talking to Mr. Lopez when he brought the property and everything, his intent was to build a small apartment on a barn out there. And then when he got that done, he was going to work on the house and move into there. Is that his intention still today? And what is his intentions to do after he finishes the other house that is connected to that property? The whole reason there is 3 lots there is it goes back to when my family owned that whole lot. The original plot that we're talking about belonged to my side of the property. But because of a building being built, which I don't know if you can see it in pictures, there's a lean-to building that is over about 5 feet on the property line on the south side. My uncles split that so they can have that 2.5, a little over 2 acres. So it's not 1.82, the 1.82 is actually my lot. It's a little over 2 acres. So it is wetland, it sets in water consistently. I understand they wanted to build that the way they wanted to. My question again is, what do they plan on doing with the other house that is there? Because he has put in the time and put in money of re-roofing the garage on that property and that house. And he's taken the time to get that house so he can work on the inside of it. That's the question I have before the board today too.
Thank you.
At this time, it all hinges on what happens with this building. If we can put the living space in this building, the house will probably be torn down. The house that we're referring to is in really bad shape. It has lots of termite damage. It has structural termite damage that was found once it was all gutted. So that kind of took that out of the loop. So at this moment, if we get approval and we go forward with the other house, as money allows, he'll tear down that house and that garage. If he doesn't, then it's kind of back up in the air again as to what happens with that house. But it does have quite a bit of termite damage.
Did that answer your question? Thank you. Anyone else like to speak on this matter from the public?
Angela Nunley. That's my husband. So we live at 2302 North, 150 West. My question is this is well-known wetlands. I flood, they flood. Is there anything that can be done for that drainage in that area? You said the surveyor was here. I don't know if, no, he's not here?
No, it's the county inspector.
Oh, okay, inspector. What can be done for the drainage in that area? Now he's building 10 feet off of my land or off the property line, and it's kind of blocking everything up. What can be done? Can I put a drainage in? Can we put a pond in? Where I have horses and they're stuck in the mud. So that's my only question.
Thank you.
As far as the drainage, I would contact the surveyor's office and ask them, you know, what can be done out there, as well as maybe speaking with them, bringing a petition, or bringing and come in front of the drainage board. But you need to talk to the surveyor because they control the drainage and ditches in the county. You might want to go up there before you leave here today and see if he's got a few minutes to speak with you on that.
Anyone else like to speak?
The pictures that we have from the county inspector, was that just a spot check, or what was the purpose for that visit?
Tom, you want to address that? You want to come up here? Yes. Sorry, Jeff.
Oh, that's all right.
I'm Tom Weitzel, Madison County Building Inspector. Go ahead and ask me about those pictures if you like.
Yeah, was that just a random spot check, or?
Well, we tend to do that prior to every meeting. If there's pictures that need to be taken for a meeting for variance or what have you. In this situation, Stacy asked me to take pictures, current pictures for this meeting today.
There's a violation.
There is a violation.
There is a violation for junk and debris on that. When the original building permit was applied for, when Liz did the review process of it, she did find that they were in violation with junk and debris. And at the planning commission meeting, it was requested for an update. Was it planning or here? I think it was planning. There was a request for it to be update on the violation if it had been brought into compliance. So that's why Tom went out also to take pictures. Pictures aren't very good. I do apologize. I could not get them to print correctly. But that's why there's all those pictures on there, just to let you guys know about the violation and where they're at on that.
Yeah, this has been an ongoing process for a while.
Have you seen improvement in it? Is that what?
There is some improvement on cleanup. Yes, there is. I will give them that. The thing that I have a concern with all of this is my initial visit out there, which was almost 2 years ago. The slab was already there, I believe. Maybe it wasn't 2 years ago, but the slab was there that they're talking about. I didn't do an inspection on a footer or the slab or anything like that. This last time that it went out, now they've got block walls up on the same building that they do not have a permit for. I have done no inspections on that. I want to prove what's there, I guess is what I'm trying to tell you. Unless they can sign off on it, or I'm going to make them at least do 8 spot checks on the footer to go down below the footer, dig down so I can verify that that's there. The one thing that I'm concerned with, as I said, I've got to go back and look at the old pictures. The slab, I don't remember seeing any anchor bolts or any rebar sticking up on the outside edge of that directly above the footer for any said walls to be able to put on it. So in other words, if those blocks are just sitting on that foundation, that's not up to code, not anywhere close. It has to be anchored to the footer. But like I said, yeah, the area has been cleaned up somewhat. There's still some issues out there that need to be taken care of. But as far as the property where the landscaping business needs to go, it looks like a landscaping business.
So for you to move forward, explain to me a little bit more, what would you be looking for as far as inspection of the site? please.
Well, we won't even issue a building permit at this time. That's impossible to do, mainly because work has already started on it.
Right.
And I was not privy to anything being done. I did not want to do any inspections. And there would have been a footer inspection and a wall inspection, and I've done neither one.
And since you weren't able to inspect either during that process, now looking back in retrospect, how do you go out and inspect it now to make sure it was done properly into code?
Well, like I said, on the footer, I would ask that they go 4 different, actually I said 8, it's going to be 16, 4 different spots along each side of that building to dig down completely below the footer so I can make sure that they meet frost depth.
Okay.
And on the wall section, there's no good way to tell, because I do see rebar sticking out of the top, so I am assuming that they put rebar in the walls and then poured concrete in those cavities, but there's no way to know without having it torn down.
Correct.
That's the only way.
Is that the part that's referred to in this handwritten note that the walls are not done properly?
That's correct. And the only reason I say that is because I was not able to inspect those. I didn't see them before they went up.
Right.
They're done. So the first thing I saw was a slab, and the next thing I saw were the walls completed.
And then, Tom, building a home above a garage, that's gonna take there's a whole different animal in making sure that you got the right barriers between the living space and the garage and all that. So that's gonna cost them, and it's gonna cost them some extra work too, correct?
That is correct. I mean, what's going to have to happen there is an engineer is going to have to be involved in that anyways. I mean, that's, I'd have to see an engineer drawing to see, to allow me to see if they do it properly, yes. The other thing is there are certain requirements for fire, drywall on the ceilings and stuff like that I can refer to the codes for that if needed.
Drywall, fire, caulk, all that stuff.
Yeah. And it's not just normal drywall. I mean,
No.
It has to be thicker fire variant.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That it?
Anyone else have any questions for Tom?
Nope.
Thank you.
Yep.
To address what Tom just said, the slab did get poured without a permit. It's a monolithic pour, and it does go down 3 foot. That we knew was a problem. That was before I got on board with this project. But at that time, then Fidel did come in and get a building permit. It was approved building permit, and that's how we built the walls. The walls were built with a permit. Now, in my opinion, which $2 will buy you a cup of coffee, is that the ball got dropped here several times by Fidel and by inspection, or not inspections, by the planning department, because Brad was well aware of the problems we had with this project. And that's how I got involved in it, was I was trying to help Fidel out and straighten it out, because Fidel has a language barrier,
Right.
and it's been confusing for him. We know that going forward, that we have to have a set of stamp drawings for this with an engineer. We know that we needed 2 5/8 layers of drywall between the first floor and the second floor for a fire barrier. We know that we need to fire caulk everything. I'm not sure that that's stuff that we need to hash out in this meeting necessarily, but we need to, I realize that you're gonna have, when we go back to the planning department, we're gonna have a set of drawings to get approved, and they're gonna have to be up to code. I do know that the rebars have been dowed into the slab and epoxied in and brought up. And I'll be happy to sign an affidavit to that. I'll be happy to open a block up and show it to you, if push comes to shove. The first thing I did when I got to this project with Fidel is I went out there and dug up his footing to see what was there, because I wasn't happy putting my name on a building that wasn't going to stand up. So, and we stopped on the block walls where we did, because of all the planning stuff. Most of the material that's on site is still for the top row of the block that go around there with a continuous bond beam around the whole top of the building. So structurally, I think we're covered, and I think that we know that we're gonna be on that path at this point to get a building permit. We aren't gonna get a building permit without that. In this planning board meeting in September or October, whenever it was, you guys told us to go ahead and finish the building, which we didn't want to do because we wanted to put the second floor on there. So there was a building permit issue. Has it been handled properly? No. But there is a building permit for what's there.
All right.
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, just being the newcomer to all of this and listening to where the project is at right now, I think the thing that you guys need to focus on is the variance itself. I mean, there's a lot of information about what had been done and what hadn't been done, but that's not necessarily for you guys to be considering. You're supposed to be considering whether or not the variance is meeting those 4 criteria that are on the application form. So the one that I'm zeroing in on is the proposed use will be consistent with the character of the zoning district in which it is located and the Madison County Comprehensive Plan. So it's a 2-story structure with a garage on the first floor only, consistent with what else is in the neighborhood. You know, looking at some of the photos, and I'm going to say I'm not familiar with the area yet of what this particular petition is, but I guess consider the neighborhood. Is that the kind of look and feel that we want to continue on in this area? Does it match up what's going on with the other structures? And I would say focus in on the criteria rather than a lot of the backstory, because I would say that's not necessarily stuff to consider with the variance application. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll take it. Counselor, do you have anything you would like to add?
No, I agree with that. The right now we're mission creep a little bit. We're getting into the building of the thing, but
Yeah.
we are obligated to provide them with an answer and findings on the variance. So I don't know where the board is leaning. We do have to make findings regardless of our approve, deny. You can approve with conditions, things of that nature. And I know that the petitioner will hate to hear this. You can also table this to gather additional information. You've been without a planning director for 2 or 3 months. You just got one here in the last couple hours. It may be worth having another set of eyes on these petitions, but it's completely up to the board what it wants to do.
Okay.
You do not have a staff report as you normally do. Probably will at your next meeting, but Rachel brings up a good point on your findings. You have to hit those slots.
Yeah. And right now, obviously, the board can see that we're missing one. It is not consistent. And so that's the question in front of us, is with respect to, do we feel comfortable of granting that variance and making this outside of what the county's plans are? And so I'd like to open this up for further discussion amongst the members here. You gain thoughts with respect to how you feel, because obviously I think that this is out of character for what the county's looking for.
Right. I don't think I've heard why it's necessary for there not to be first floor residential as part of like living space on the first floor. So that would be my question, I guess, to the petitioner is why can't we have first floor residential as part of the structure, living space?
And the basic answer to that is it started out wrong and it's just grown into that. It's a financial hardship to change it at this point. And we're trying to better the area, and it's dollars and cents at this point.
Anyone else have any questions, comments? I open the floor for we can table it, we can make a decision to accept it, we can make a decision to reject it.
Well, I'm going to make a comment.
Okay?
As far as having a garage for, and I'm assuming they're going to operate the landscape business out of this garage. As a farmer, I know what we use garages and shops for on working on machinery. You have fumes, you have welding going on, torches being ran. I would not want my living quarters attached to a building that has that kind of activity in it, especially above. I've seen shops where they've built living quarters off to the side, so it's somewhat detached, but having it right above that working area is kind of concerning without having a lot of really good ventilation and fire protection barriers, which I'm sure will all be in that code, but I don't know, I'm just a little bit concerned about operating a business out of the bottom floor and living above that.
This building, is this where they're gonna have the office space? Do they have restroom facilities on the bottom floor? Or customers coming in, or is that gonna be used for storage or office space, or?
There are no customers coming and going there.
Okay.
This is strictly storage. The footprint of the business is that there are 4 guys that show up in the morning, load up whatever materials they need there, get in trucks and go to the job. As far as customers coming and going, there will be none.
We're not trying to borrow any welding, whatever. We're not working and they just store stuff, tools, and put the trucks inside. That's all we need.
It's strictly a place to park the equipment and trucks.
We're not like a factory or something like that.
I'll entertain a motion. If the board would like to present one.
I'm thinking.
All right,
Do you
thank
see
you.
smoke coming out? In theory, though, he could take one of those bays in the garage and turn that into living quarters, and he'd be in compliance, and he wouldn't even need the variance.
That's correct.
So if we deny this, I'm betting that that's gonna be their route because he wants to live in that area, there. He could take one of those bays and turn it into a living quarters, a living room. Wouldn't require water, would require electricity, carpet, and some walls, so if you look at it that way, that's probably 40%. If you cut it in half, that's, 40%'s around 650 square feet.
The whole thing is we were trying to get in compliance.
Make
Yeah.
sure you come up and state your name, please. I gotta have it for record, I'm sorry.
So,
Pete McNamee, the evil side of me agrees with you, and I've come up with all sorts of contingency plans that I could do that circumvent the planning department, that circumvent the comprehensive plan, and it happens everywhere across this county. I can't go 1 square mile in this county and not find an issue, probably. And we're trying to do it in compliance, and we're trying to do it the right way, and that's why we're asking for, that's why we're going through all this. if back in October, we had gone ahead and put a roof on that building and finished that building, nobody's ever gonna see what we do in that building afterwards.
You still thinking?
I'm ready for you guys.
Jerry, you've been quiet.
Just thinking, like our council said, we're just here to talk about the variance and not talk about the structural part of the building. The engineers will have to get their own.
Right.
So.
The finding of facts, Jeff, where are we at on those?
We don't have a proposed one. If I can probably put something together fairly quickly if I know which way the board's going. You do have, I will just caution the board on the variance. The third finding you have to make is will
Yeah.
the strict application of the terms of the zoning orders result in practical difficulty in the permitted use of the property? And we've heard testimony that it's primarily financial. I
Can't
sure
pass.
as heck understand that and sympathize. That's not a practical difficulty in the zoning world.
Right.
It sure as heck is a practical difficulty,
All right.
but it's not the way that's defined. Rather than deny it, you could table it, let our interim planning director take a look at it, see what, if anything, could be worked out to change the plan so that the variance, any conditions that could be added so we could meet this criteria. Lisa's mentioned one possible solution. I know they don't want to hear that, but they're not going to want to hear a denial either.
Yeah.
All right.
You
have been hamstrung.
Yeah, we have, and unfortunately for them as well.
Well, I know,
The whole
absolutely.
process, but, to be fair to all, that's our job, right? To be impartial and to be fair, and to follow the guidance that is set forth by the other government agencies here. I'm torn on this one big time, I really am, and so I'm of the opinion, like you said, we need to table this so that Rachel can help us and give us some guidance and some findings of fact. Because on the surface, my gut is saying to deny it, but at the same time, my other side of my other gut's telling me to be sympathetic with respect to this man trying to make a business and be successful and to go forward, and having all these other opportunities put in front of him that get somewhat changed, but.
Well, and I'm with you. I used to be the building inspector for the county, and I've seen this same situation
Happen.
throughout the whole
Yeah.
county. Some of it legal, some of it not legal. And so I know what's out there, but then I'm also trying to follow the book. So I know they don't want to hear this, but I make a motion that we table it until our new interim director has the time to review this and get her feet underneath her, so to speak, and get us some findings of facts and staff reports and see how the staff feels about it.
All right, we have a motion on the table. To have a second.
Second.
I hate kicking the can down the
too.
road too, but
All right. Stacy, get a roll call, please.
Absolutely. Lisa Hawks,
yes.
Corey Bolander,
Yes.
Jerry Stan,
Yes.
and Kurt Stevenson.
Yes.
The board, you also have the special use from the same petitioner. Would you like to address that at this time?
And the special use is just to operate a business from that location.
Right.
To store materials on site. They don't have to even operate it.
Okay.
So the storage of materials, if I'm correct here, we're talking about landscaping materials only, or would there be, I mean, obviously we have vehicles, but those not considered materials. So what
You could put restrictions on that by
Okay.
granting your special use. You can say what can or cannot be in there, as long as it's a reasonable condition.
And that was what that technical review was.
Right. Corey, do you need to see this?
Yeah, I need to read it. Did you read this, Jerry?
Yes.
The technical review said they needed to have all their building inside, the storage inside, and what building are you gonna do that in?
I'm not sure what pictures you have there, but what we were talking about with Brad, and it hasn't gone forward because we were trying to get all the other stuff worked out, was on the south side of the property, there's 5 or 6 bends there. It was gonna have a lean-to roof over it to meet the under roof consideration for the stone, because that's pretty much what's there, is there's little bays of stone left over from jobs and that kind of stuff, different mulch, that kind of stuff is what's in those bays. So that was the intention, to get that under roof.
And Pat, sorry, if the other is denied, he still wants to move forward with the special uses, correct?
Yes,
Okay. Pete, I'm sorry, I called you
you're
Pat.
fine. I've been called worse.
Thanks, Pete.
If the board is looking for findings on approval of the special use, I could read something into the record if you'd like, or I don't know. I don't want to play poker with any of you guys. I can't tell what you're.
Well, I'm of the opinion here, again, of tabling this same issue with the petitioner, because number one, it's gonna give us more time, give Rachel some time as well, but I have less of a concern on this issue with respect to storage of landscaping material outside, because guess what? That's where it's gonna end up anyhow, right? But at the same time, I think we need to have this being petitioner having 2 things before us, between the special use and the variance, basically decided by us after findings of facts and full review. So I suggest we also table this. And so I'll leave it up to anyone else for discussion, or? No discussion. I make a motion that we table the special use for 2021-07 for our next meeting.
Second.
We have a first, second, make a roll call. Stacy, please.
Yes. Lisa Hawk,
Yes.
Corey Villander,
Yes.
Jerry Stam,
Yes.
and Kurt Stevenson.
Yes.
Take your name, please.
Pete McNamee, you're putting this off again. Does that mean that we're gonna have to file notice again and have to send out certified letters again? Well, you're shaking your head no, but that's what's happened every time to us, so where do we draw the line on this and say, hey, we give up, uncle, we'll just go live under the bridge and be done? So is it realistic for us to have to do this again with the filings and everything?
There's no additional filing. Your hearing on this was continued at this meeting to a time and date certain, which is the March meeting.
Okay,
No further notice is required.
all right.
Everybody's on notice.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. That is the old business that we had promised to do, so we're finally onto some new business. So we're gonna, if I may, with opening up the petition 2022 V001, the petitioner being Jeffrey Kinder. This is a variance to build an accessory structure from a primary structure in a single-family residence R2 zoning district.
Yes, sir, and you've spelled that out. You have you have the information in front of you. Mr. Kinder has provided a letter. This one is fairly straightforward compared to the issues you've been dealing with. I'd recommend we invite the petitioner to speak as to his petition.
All right. Who's Jeff? Yep. Good morning.
Good morning. Jeff Kinder, 193 Suburban Drive. Do you have questions on the materials or?
Floor is yours to speak, however you.
Actually, what I want to do is build it's a garage, a Morton building. But my lot, it's actually beside the house, but with the state rule, 400 East makes that my front yard also. So I have no exits or anything on that side of the house, so I've always considered it a side yard. So it was a surprise to me, actually.
Problem being on a corner.
Yes, that was a front yard. Well, actually, it's a separate corner lot. The land is actually in the L shape.
True.
But my backyard is my leach bed and my septic system.
Yeah. And we noted that on the drawings and information, so.
Mhm.
So it's a 30 by 37 Morton building. Want to put in a concrete driveway, concrete apron at the front of it. In essence, it's a $70,000 improvement to the property.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone from the audience like to speak on this matter? If so, come in, please state your name and your address, sign in, and.
I'm just a messenger.
Oh, just the messenger.
I just need to give this letter to you guys. I take care of the property next door to this one. The property owner wasn't even aware of this hearing today.
Can you come up and state your name and write your name on there, please? Thank you.
I seen the sign in their yard and contacted the property owner. They never received any information at all about this hearing this morning, other than me telling them about it.
So you're just the messenger, right?
Yes, sir.
So you have nothing else to say?
No?
You've just done your job?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you. I don't know if you want.
You can read it if you'd like, turn it into a record, or.
It's just basically, it's a neighbor that's Gunter R. Fix, who is the owner of a property that is located at 267 South 100 East in Anderson. I want to contest that no pole barn be constructed or built next to my property that can affect the value or future sale of my property. We were told by Mark Walden, excuse me? Okay, so you do have a name. All right. That does yard work on this property. We didn't receive any notice from the courthouse about this construction. The construction of said pole barn would overpower the house and affect the view to the north that could affect the value or future sale of my property. I am unable to attend the meeting because of bad health problems. I'm 80 years old. I'm having my wife Wanda Fix to write this letter for me. I'm giving this letter to Mark Walden to give to you to contest the construction of said pole barn located at 267 South 100 East, Anderson, Indiana, 46017, dated February 21st, 2022, and signed by Gunter Fix. And that is the letter, and the envelope was addressed to the Madison County Courthouse. So I will see that said letter is given to Stacy. So the information has been received and recorded. So thank you.
Mr. Vice Chair, based on that, I recommend, not the lack of notice, but once again, there is evidence that this would hurt property values in the area. Whether we have to accept that evidence is another thing, right. But perhaps having our interim director take a look at that and someone with some expertise to give us a staff report would be appropriate on this petition as well.
So the property owner that wrote the letter, are they in this corner lot right here? Yeah. I see it there now.
Okay. All right, so I didn't have that name in my list of people to send to. I don't know how they got missed. All right.
I'm ready to verify that as well. They are not in this list that Liz provided the petitioner. So she's,
We'll need to resend out notice and bump it to the next month.
Right.
Because that person has no,
Clearly didn't get it.
Right.
the petitioner admits that that one was omitted. That happens.
Okay.
Okay, another point on it though also is the fact, this, not pole barn, actually garage, but still same, is behind the setback of the front of that house as it faces 400 East. Makes sense?
Mhm.
All right, so that house, it's set back from 400 East because that's what it faces. This garage is actually behind that setback.
Are you wanting to have a driveway for this garage?
Yes.
Can you pencil in how that driveway you're wanting it to be?
While he's doing that, I think that we need to table this and let proper notifications be sent out.
So you're making a motion?
Making a motion to table it.
I'll second.
Yes.
Stacy, we have a first and second to table this so that we can get proper notifications sent out. Do you have a roll call, please?
yes. Lisa Hobbs,
Yes.
Corey Belander,
Yes.
Jerry Stam,
Yes.
and Kurt Stevenson.
Yes. Jeff, on behalf of this board, we apologize for that lack of that, with that person not getting notified. So we're going to table this to get proper notification. But thank you. I'm sorry.
Okay.
We'll have
Also, I'll probably send you pictures of the house. Nobody's lived in the house, actually, since we bought the property that we're in at 193.
Okay.
So.
It's a vacant home.
And how long have you been at your place? How long have you been at your house?
Sorry.
2 years.
2 years? 2 years.
Okay.
It's falling apart.
So, yeah.
Okay, so this home that's on the plat is not, it's vacant right now? This is, yeah. This is
Oh, no, that's the house, correct. That's the over here's the house they're talking about.
Oh, the one that the person that wrote in?
Correct.
But you live here?
Oh, yes. I forgot where I live now.
All right. Thank you.
Sorry for the inconvenience, but we'll see you soon.
Okay. I'm assuming then next month I have to come back.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, please.
All right. The next petition on the agenda is 2022 V002, Matthew Collins. This is a request of variance to build an accessory structure in front of a primary structure in agriculture, the AG zoned district.
Same thing, Mr. Vice Chair. The packet has a letter from the petitioners, and there are some pictures that staff has provided. There's no staff report as of yet for the reasons we've discussed. Recommend that we invite the petitioner to discuss his and her petition.
Okay.
Matthew Collins at 10986 South 400 West. I'd like to put up a pole barn so I can store some of my equipment on our new property. We moved from Greenfield, came to Pendleton to buy some property. I have a tractor, a skid steer, some tractor equipment, and at this point I've got a Harbor Freight tent that I have put up that I'd really like to to keep from blowing down. The wind keeps catching it, so I'd like to have a pole barn. If I put it alongside with the garage, it's going to block my wife's view. She works at home with a call center. If I put it up with the garage, it's going to block our view. It's also going to change the access to pull in from our original driveway. If you would consider the pictures and see what you think.
Is there a driveway going back there now?
Not yet, no. I would install stones to drive back there. There's a little photoshopping going on there to display. I've been in printing for 20 plus years, so grabbed my software and did some photoshopping.
So technically, I'm looking at this drawing. This structure actually, I think it talks about this going to be built in front of the primary structure, which is not in front of it.
It's beside. It's a similar
It's more
situation.
behind
It's
from
another
this drawing.
It's
Right,
another
but
corner
it's got
lot.
two-
That corner lot, that's the
another
issue
corner
here.
lot. Yes, sir.
Stacy, I might assume, isn't that, is that a local road down there?
1100 North, yeah.
Yes, it is.
Refresh my memory on the setbacks on the local road. Is it 60 feet?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So they're asking for a 20-foot reduction?
Approximately, yes. When we bought the property, you see the yellow dots.
Mhm.
We were informed that was our setback.
65. Okay, so
It's 65.
Yes, it's 65 feet from the center of the road. Is the front setback.
So this drawing, you're measuring off of the side of the road is your 40-foot, what you want to have is 40-foot setback?
Yes.
This isn't necessarily off of your property line. So if the yellow dot is your property edge,
I was told that was our building edge from the road.
building edge from the road,
Yes.
do you have a survey of your property?
I did not bring that. There is one though.
I would say, I would like to see the survey of the property so that we can get better or more accurate measurements off of
Okay.
it to see exactly what the right of way is of the road, and then we can measure the setback off of the right of way rather than the edge of pavement.
Okay.
Because even though you're requesting a 20-foot variance, I guess, it could be more or less because we don't have a technical drawing.
All right.
Does that make sense? Does that?
Yeah. And that is the county line road there, is it not?
Yes.
Yeah. Which is not a heavily traveled road, but at the same time, I agree with you with respect to it'd be probably in our best interest to table it until you get the survey and you can look at that.
Are the measurements actually done from the center line? Or
I thought it was
from
the
edge?
center.
I think it's center line, isn't it? So that would move these measurements back then.
But just to be safe or make sure that he may be in compliance where it's at if we measure it properly.
Yeah. I didn't know to measure from the center of the road when I placed those measurements.
That setbacks are measured from the center of the road?
I was told it was from the property line.
And that's where I would say it was from the property line.
Yes,
So that's
yes.
why I worry that even though it's a 20-foot reduction of the setback, that we're not even at the right line to.
On the side for, front yard setback, yeah, it would be 65
From
the
property.
and it's, yes. And when it's front, they go by I correct myself. When it's front yard setback, it goes by the center of the road. So it'd be 65 feet.
Okay,
So we're within reason.
let's get a survey.
Okay, sure.
I don't want to overstep because I know I'm new, but that would
Yeah.
be the information I would need to make a recommendation to the board.
Anyone else from the audience like to speak on this matter before we have discussion for vote? Having none, I motion that we table this till next meeting until we get the survey so we can give you the proper setback. So notices don't need to be. We're good.
Second.
All right, we have a first, second. Roll call, please, Stacy.
Yes. Lisa Hobbs,
Yes.
Kurt Stevenson, Corey Bowlander,
Yes.
Jerry Stam,
Yes.
Kurt Stevenson.
Yes. All right, petition number 3, 2021 SU 001, Samuel Dowden, petitioner. This would be K. DeLulo. Thank you. Request is a special use for a horse boarding facility in the Conservation Residential CR Zone District. And we have 3 separate petitions today, correct?
Yes.
All right. We'll start with the first one. Count.
Would you like to hear evidence, combine these for the purposes of compiling the record, Mr. Vice Chair?
I think it'd probably be best interest.
Okay, bear with. And you have, as you just mentioned, 3 special uses. One special use, again, you're in the residential CR zone. The first special use is to place a horse boarding facility at the subject parcel. Second is to allow seasonal farm worker housing. Again, an allowable special use in the CR with certain findings. And lastly, the third one is a variance, I'm sorry, and that's for seasonal worker housing at or under 100 square feet. So
1,000 square feet.
1,000 square feet, that makes it a lot better.
Yeah.
That'd be tough. Mr. Vice Chair, I just recommend that we ask the petitioner to describe the information.
Case probably said he's pretty bored by sitting there watching, listening to other petitions come up, so.
Excavator for several days.
My address is 2109 State Road 38 East, Westfield.
2108?
2109.
Okay.
State
So
Road
that's all-
38 East. So, I've lived on this property in Westfield for 16 years, running a horse boarding facility, about 40 acres. I've done various things in Hamilton County, owned restaurants, Italian restaurants, built custom homes, as a general contractor, ran a landscaping business. I have a little bit of career ADD. So the horse boarding business is the longest one I've done. Right now I'm running 40 head on 40 acres with about 25 in pasture. So that's approximately, let's just say 2 head per acre with rotational grazing and pasture management. These are horses that are outside. My boarding facility is different than what you see normally. My specialty is pasture. Horses are out 24/7. I don't want to clean stalls. Horses are happier outside. And there's a movement in the community and throughout the country to go back to a more natural and holistic horse care. Therefore, the reason I'm looking at this property here in Madison County is due to the size of the acreage and the ability to keep the horses out. All my horses stay out. There's a variety of breeds of horses. We're not a breed-specific barn. We're not a discipline-specific barn. And I'm looking to improve the land and to keep it nice, neat, clean, tidy, new fencing, repairing any of the structures. With that being said, it takes a lot of people to do these things. It's common in the horse industry to supply room for those who work on a facility such as this. Your grooms, your vet techs. If you have any number of horses, the farrier that comes in and you got 40 head to trim, you can't do that in one day. So therefore, that's that special variance to have the seasonal farm worker housing. And depending on whatever is going on at the farm, it's good to have a paramedic on site at times. It's good to have a mechanic on site. Engines make me cry. I like dealing with the horses. So, and there's a lot of equipment to maintain. I've been doing this in this capacity for 16 years. I have a waiting list for this type of environment.
So the current facility in Westville, you would be relocating from Westville to Madison County if this all
Yes.
goes through as approved?
Yes.
Okay. The the need for 4 structures as opposed to 1. So I'm hearing the need for, and I understand what you're saying, but would you have that many people coming in at a time where you would need up to 4 structures?
It can be more than that. Depends on what we're doing. I also have an instructor. You know, it depends on the lesson program that's happening, how much it's going to grow, the training program. I'm also a breeding facility. So I have, right now I just have 1 stallion. Sometimes I have more. We have babies that come in the spring. You've got breeding season, you've got foaling season. Once summer hits, it gets
busy,
crazy. It's busy. And it's not necessarily all the people that are coming in or out. It's, say we have a function. Say we have a costume party like we do at Halloween where people want to come in and participate. We don't do horse shows yet. That's a possibility on down the road. Don't know if I'm going to do that or not. I don't particularly want to do it. I like just to board the horses, but sometimes in order to draw people in, you got to have some offerings. But right now, the kind of people I draw, they enjoy taking care of their horses. They come out and blanket their horses. The horses want grain, they come out and feed them. We're more of a trail ride retirement type environment than a show environment. So people like to stay on the property. What they do now at my place, I don't know if you're familiar, it used to be called Hillside Beach Club.
I'm not.
It was a water park back in the day, back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. People ride all around the property. They ride around my house. The whole property's fenced in. It's a very tight-knit environment. Everybody gets along. There's no drama. Everybody's helpful. Okay, what do you need? What can I do for you today? If I'm out working somewhere, things just get done. So it's a great environment.
So in these houses that you're proposing, would you have any employees or any tenants that would be there permanent?
No.
Or this all going to be transit with respect to?
It's all transient.
And you're talking from customers to vets to, like you said, different?
Yes. It's common in the industry to provide board, say for your stable hand.
But you don't have any stables?
No.
So you don't have any stable hands?
You have them in case of emergencies. Say if you have a horse that's lame or has an abscess or hit a fence, has been kicked in the head. If you have that many horses, something's always happening. The vet's always out. Farriers, dental, chiropractic. It's a little different than maybe raising cows or pigs or llamas. We have a chiropractor that comes out every month. The farrier's out all the time. The vet's out more than I like him to be.
Okay. I just needed some clarification because I was having trouble picturing the need for 4 structures and how long those would be there. Would it be overnight? Would they be more transient or less transient? Any permanent? Would they be, literally they're hired hands that you're creating a house for them to live in that would be there 24/7. I just was needing some clarification, so.
Well, it's meant to be as needed. I'd rather it sit there empty and not need it than to have a need and not be able to put that person up.
I understand.
And with them being under 1,000 square feet, you're not going to have a lot of money in them. I have a general contracting background, 1999 Homerama house. They're going to be nice without being overboard. They're going to have your typical appliances and a bed and room for a sofa.
Anyone else have any questions for Kay?
And there are actually 4 files you have. There's one
There's a
main.
lot.
I I want to make sure I get all of this done. The pictures of the property I maintain now,
Uh-huh.
so you'll see that it's, and I pay rent, I've paid rent on that property. I don't own it. When I got the property, it was overgrown. It was a junkyard. I have cleaned everything up, built all new fences, built
Are
new
you talking about the
structures.
property in Hamilton County?
Yes,
The pond I used to go swimming in as a child on
Yes.
38 and 31?
yes, that's my farm.
You probably need to clean it up after I was there.
So it doesn't look anything like what
Huh?
you
Trying to
had.
say you were a heathen?
I swam there as a child too.
Yeah, it was a beautiful park. It was before we had in-ground swimming pools,
Yes.
at least where I came from, so. Thank you. Anyone from the crowd like to come speak? I've got one. Make sure if you'll state your name, address, and sign in, and we'll grant you the floor.
Doug Lehman, and it's 8100 West, 1000 South. It's 30 acres agricultural. And this is going to sound really dumb, but I couldn't find any, I don't even know where this project's at. It says, well, I got notification in the mail.
Okay.
It says 1000 South. I tried to find it on the internet, and I couldn't find, I don't even know where you're trying to do this at, so.
It's, you know where the new custom home is going in? Right next door, it's right next door. The house has been being built for about a year.
Yes, that's,
I think his name's Craig.
and he's from Ohio.
I haven't met him yet.
Yeah, he's from Ohio, I
Probably
believe.
due east.
So you're going to be, so you're the old transfer station?
Yes.
Is the property you're looking at? Okay, all right, so you're going to be,
Cleaning it all up.
so you're directly across from Will's, Jason, and that, they built the pond and everything. They're on the south side of the road.
I've only met Jerry McVeigh.
Okay, all right. Well, so again, that I was just trying to figure out where it was
Yeah.
going in, and since we are on record, you have the DeLulo's in
Yes.
Cicero. Awesome place to eat. I would
I'm a chef.
I would invite anyone to go up there. It's going to be the best Italian meal you've had in a while.
Really?
Career ADD. It's my favorite restaurant.
Right.
I'm sorry?
When are you gonna open a
You know, the question's been posed several times. I'm sticking with horses. They're much easier than humans.
Yeah.
And I guess not to pry too much, I mean, how many acres is there? Because again, I've seen nothing on that.
3.5.
Okay, all right. So, yeah, so 40 horses is not going to be.
I think I'm allowed 85,
Okay.
which I don't want. But the 40 is quite a bit. It's what I have now. But you know, breeding season, and I've got some babies coming.
Well, I guess all I can say is while I do have the mic is, you know, it sounds like from your past experience in at least your restaurant side, I do know where your boarding facility is now, because we actually live at near Deming, basically.
Oh, okay, so you know the place.
Yes, sure do. So all I can say is if you take care of it like you've done other things in the past, I'm all for it, because it's kind of an overgrown eyesore right now. So if you do it with the taste that you currently have, I'm going to give you the thumbs up.
Thank you.
Thanks, Doug. Thanks for your comments. Anyone else like to speak? Oops. Yep.
Good morning, Greg
Morning.
Valentine. I live at 5297 South 800W. I'm about 4 miles north of this property, but I'm familiar with it. Albert Stewart's with me, and he lives just a few houses east of this property. I'm going to speak to you as Green Township trustee now. I have 3 or 4 concerns. You're going to use the old existing buildings that were Sam's maintenance building, his garage where he worked on trucks. You're going to make those into stables?
The southern portion of the barn, I am only putting in 6 stalls. Middle will be a feed and tack room.
Will you go up to the microphone, please?
She can't write as fast if we all talk.
You trying to say yourself?
No, but
Let me have my
I've been
plans.
there.
I'll show you what I have.
So here are the plans. This is County Road 1000. Okay. This is the existing barn. In this section right here, I'm putting in about 6 stalls for emergencies. Okay. Feed and tack room. Probably an office. And then I'm just going to store my stuff, my trailers inside.
Horse trailers.
Horse trailers, flatbed trailers. I got a skid steer,
Okay.
lawnmower.
About the big building.
That's not there yet. That would be an indoor arena. It's proposed.
Okay, you're aware that's sitting on an old landfill,
Correct.
the dump,
Yes.
and it's all kinds of stuff's been dumped in there over the years, and then Sam had it bulldozed dirt over it when they got on IDEM, I think, got on him. You run a phase 2 environmental study on that, like the neighbor that's building that new house did?
Yep.
And it
We're in
came
the
back
phase.
okay?
We're in the phase 1 right now.
Okay.
That hasn't been completed, but it's been paid for. I'm working very closely with IDEM. I actually met with them yesterday. We dug some test pits. Had a 1-hour meeting with them on Friday. We've been out at the site several times. I have a geologist working on it and an environmental attorney, along with my regular attorney.
So what about the phase 2?
It hasn't been done yet. I haven't purchased the property yet.
Right, you're gonna buy, are you buying on contract from Sam or
No.
just buying it straight out?
I'll buy it straight
Okay.
out.
The other one was, the frontage. You know, we trustees take care of weeds and nasty environmental, properties, you know, that look bad. That is a mess out front. Are you gonna clean that all up, clear out to
Absolutely.
1,000?
This is what we're doing right now. So if we look at this, this is north, this is south. Okay?
I'm familiar with it.
This would all be new pasture. This is all new pasture. Okay? It'll all be cleaned out with 3-board fence. Okay?
You're leaving the house there. that's
Yes.
there.
So these are things I've
I
dealt
don't
with.
need to see all that. I just had 2 or 3 questions on it.
So this will all, I'm already clearing all of this.
Has it still got the methane gas pipes sticking up?
There's no methane gas.
They're not there anymore.
I'm not aware that there ever was one. You may be thinking of the wellhead. It sticks
What
up.
were they, Albert? Weren't they
sticks up
methane
about
gas vent
8
pipes?
I think they vented it years ago.
There's an 8-foot PVC pipe that stands up in the middle, and that's the well.
Water or gas, do you know?
Water. And that well is about right here.
Okay. Okay, now you've answered everything I need to know as a NIBI trustee. Now I want to speak to you as Falkirk Regional Waste trustee.
Okay.
One of the board members.
We got to re-sign back in if you're going to change
Yeah.
hats.
Yeah, I'll sign my name twice. Times 2. Albert is the secretary, I'm the treasurer, Falkirk Regional Waste, and we've got some concerns about these living quarters. Are they house trailers or?
No.
They're going to be permanent structure on foundation?
What I've been looking at is, did I bring it up here?
Well, I don't really care how they're built, it's for these guys to decide, but I want to know how you're going to hook into our sewer. You're not going to hook above ground, you're going to put everything in below ground for the
Correct.
bathrooms.
Correct.
It'll be in
When
just like your property would be,
Yes,
for your house,
correct.
all going to be hooked in.
Yeah. I was under the impression when I talked to Tim
Tim McCurdy.
McCurdy, he told me it was just under $8,000 to hook up the 4 tiny homes to sewer. Or $4,000 to hook 2 tiny homes on them with 1 sewer grinder pit.
There's a grinder pit there now,
Yes,
so you're going to tie into the one that the house is hooked to?
correct. But I have to put in a grinder pit for 2 tiny homes. So if there's 4 tiny homes, there's 2 grinder pits to a tune of just under $8,000.
Normally we're $3,400 per house, but he
Oh.
may figure out a way to tie 2 of those in.
That's
together.
that's what he said. since they were
So
under.
it's all gonna be underground because we don't allow any RVs setting.
There are no
dumping
RVs.
into it. They're all gonna be permanent structures.
They are a shed type structure that is converted into a house. Does that make sense? They're built as a house.
Tiny homes.
Something like this.
Oh yeah, I know what they are.
So it's not necessarily this manufacturer, but this is an example of how they are.
You better show them. Show Rachel.
Show it to Rachel. Now,
By the way, welcome, Rachel. I've had to deal with her before, and she's great. No, she's great. So there could be 4+ of these tiny homes.
Only 4 or less.
4 or less, okay. No more than 4.
No. And at the rate I'm spending money on this, it's probably going to start out with 2.
So I'm familiar with the old swimming place. I used to go over there, pick up girls.
Are you the one that threw all those beer tabs on the ground that I keep finding everywhere?
I didn't turn. Did we miss anything, Albert? Do you have any?
Rough country back in.
Yeah, it is.
I know. I've been back in there for a couple weeks. But it's right up my alley.
That's all I have.
right.
Appreciate you.
No problem.
You're welcome.
Sounds like a good project.
I'm sorry?
How much pasture you got?
On this place, the new one, 40+ acres.
So feeding livestock over this old landfill, which I assume's got a couple feet of dirt on it, won't be a
It has
problem.
more than a couple feet.
Does it?
There's a proper cap on it of 2 feet, and then there's clean fill of 6 to 12 feet on top.
Is there that much?
Yes. We actually did test pits yesterday with the excavator.
This was waste management.
Yeah.
You may not remember that years ago, but it was waste management. That's where the trucks came, and I think it was a transfer center there.
It's been closed since 1975.
Right, a long time, because you've been trying to sell land since 1975.
I guess I'm just the sucker to buy it.
Yeah. Thank you, Greg. Okay, if you would like to continue, the floor is still yours, and we've interrupted you a couple times. So if you want to add anything else,
Questions. I
Go
would
ahead.
invite some questions
okay.
on what I have.
First of all, I want to applaud what you did as far as the detail of information that you put together with the sources that you have cited with respect to with whom you're working.
Thank you.
Kudos to you.
Thank you.
I could tell there's a lot of insight and input, and this isn't something you're just running from the seat of your pants trying to, well, I'll figure this as we go.
Well, she's been very instrumental in
Well, there's
Get me down the road.
obviously a project of this size and scope, so I'm very happy to hear that IDM's involved and you're dealing with the
Very
issues.
closely.
So, the one question I did have with respect to foundation, would that be built on, so if you were to get approval for 1, 2, 3, or 4 of those homes?
There's several different ways it can be done.
Okay.
It can be done on a permanent foundation. These are meant to be portable. They're
Right.
built on skids. With my custom home background, you can build them on piers.
Right.
You can put them on a slab. You can put them on a block foundation. You can put them right on the ground.
Right.
I haven't really figured out, if you build a pier foundation, how do you get it on the piers? Because of the mules that they have to slide them in. You can't put any piers in the middle. That would have to be put in later. It would make hooking up to water and sewer a little easier.
Right.
If I build a slab, I got to have the pipe stubbed up, and that house has to sit directly over it and be exact. So, and I haven't hit the permit section of this just yet to see what's required. They are meant to be portable. They come in on a truck, you sit them, you hook them up, they're ready to go. They're 100 amp service. I'm going to put a new well in.
And I noticed, as Greg was sharing with you with regards to Fall Creek Regional Waste, all those would be tied into the Regional Waste District, which is not
Correct.
required by.
Yep.
sta- okay.
I've already met with the power company, an electrician. I mean, it is a big project. There's a lot of stuff going on, but with the years of experience I've had in the different industries between tree nursery, excavating, dozing, commercial, custom homes, restaurant, I have the knowledge to do what I need to do to make it work right and make it look nice and be a huge benefit to Madison County. I get a huge draw just in Hamilton County with the way I keep horses now. The problem we're having in the industry is urban sprawl is gobbling up
Land.
all these farms, hence my issue. I've been working on this since October 4th. I've read the item files 4 times, all of them, all of the testing, everything. So found out about this property on a Monday night. By Tuesday, I was there with a home inspector and a geologist. And within days, I had an environmental attorney. I'm out of my property March 31st. So you can see time is of the essence for me to get this herd moved. I don't want to move it twice.
Sure.
I have a backup plan, but ideally, I am clearing property right now. I haven't purchased it yet. I've got this is the first main thing we're doing right now is visiting here. I've already got the survey done. It's being reparceled so that the landfill is wholly on the north property. The south parcel will be its own entity. The environmental restrictions being lifted off of that. The north parcel is having a modification so that I can graze horses on it. That's next. Then I file for a loan. To buy the south parcel, the north parcel will be donated to me. Hopefully got it all figured out. So.
Anyone have any more further questions?
No,
for
I think,
petitioner?
I think everything any questions I had were
Yeah,
answered with the complete thing.
Are you planning to live at this property?
Yes.
In the existing house?
There is a tenant in there. She's been there 30 years. She has a handicapped son. She does have some horse knowledge, and I'd like to keep her in there. I know what it's like to be pushed out of my house. It's very emotional because it's a family situation for me. I don't want to kick her out. I'm a widow. I can live anywhere. But it's my inherent job to watch these horses. So I will live on property. And God, I'm an emotional older lady anymore. Jeez. The drop of a hat. But it is of utmost importance. It's absolutely necessary that I live on property with these animals. That's my job. And I've been out in the middle of the night rescuing horses because I can hear them.
Yeah, you did put out this week as a vet.
Yes, he's excited. He burned my ear for an hour the other day. He wants to sell me the property next door. So that would be great.
Okay.
He's excited about it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else like to speak from the? All right,
I have a staff question to ask.
go right ahead.
Because of my newness here, but I'm hoping Stacy might know the answer off the top of her head. What is the minimum square footage for housing? You do? 1,500. Perfect. Thank you.
I don't want to build 1,500 or 1,500 square foot homes. I'm actually thinking more like 1,800 square feet. These are temporary.
No, I needed just for my own frame of reference on what the county's minimum was. So I appreciate your help and thank you.
Counselor?
This one may be one you're going to want to put some thought out conditions into on the special use. And she's mentioned a few of the questions you asked her: live on the property, the type of stables, the type of structures, things like that. You can add those to special uses. Rachel, what do you think about adding conditions to the special uses?
I would hate to hold her up more. I think this is a great project, and she's obviously doing her due diligence with all of it. Yeah, I would love to think about this more. So I would hate to tell you what to do today because, like I said, I hate to hold her up, but that's a lot. It's a big project.
It's huge, yeah.
The problem with the special use is that if you grant it and you do not set the conditions and have it dialed in the way you want it, it runs with the land.
Yeah,
we trust them.
Yeah, but if she sells the property,
she
or wants
could
to
win the
flip it-
lottery and be sipping an umbrella drink on a beach somewhere. We are stuck with whatever we agreed to today forever on the property. So it's my recommendation that we put some thought into some conditions and work with the petitioner and let her help author those conditions for your review.
What conditions are you?
Well, number of horses, hours of operation, limitations on size of your emergency stables, things.
All in the business plan.
Okay, well, we'd have to adopt all that, review all that. So, I'm urging a lot of caution on this, guys.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to get in her way. I don't. But this is a massive project that you will be stuck with your findings. And a general approval of a special use is, hey, it's a horse boarding facility. Well, I'm going to have an unsafe condition out there. I'm going to have too many. Not her, the next person. Do we have that in a condition in here? Well, maybe not. That's my only point, guys. It's not to hold up, or I'm certainly not making any comment against the project, but it is something that it's a recordable land interest and it follows the land.
Okay.
So as according to some of your questions, from what I have found in talking to Stacy and other people, there's an allowable of 85 head on the property. I'm not going to have 85 head. I need this project to move quickly. And I understand your concerns. How can I rectify those concerns here now with any questions that you have that may not be addressed in my business plan or my manure management plan or my survey or site plan or anything else that I've done?
It's my belief that it can't be done today. I think that this is a massive project. I mean, we are tabling to gather in more information on pole barns, certain
Yes.
location. This particular petition is a significant change to the land use itself and a business that will hopefully be here for forever.
I intend it to be.
Good. We hope so.
I don't like to move. I hadn't planned on moving.
My concern is the future, the next owner.
Mhm.
And there will be a next owner. None of us are around
Correct.
forever. And we are bound by what we decide today forever.
Mhm.
If the BZA is prepared to adopt conditions that it pretty much can't go back on today, then we can proceed. I don't think we are.
Well,
would it be possible to accept the conditions as she's got it in her business plan to carry forward to the next landowner?
Oh, absolutely. If you adopt her plans in there, you could require substantial compliance with her business plan. And that becomes the condition that's on her special use. Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Because I've already read this and she's already got the guidelines of what she wants to do. And that sounds like a good guideline to carry forth. So if we.
Sure. You can, Jerry. Absolutely.
It is not a stable facility. It is a pasture environment facility. I'm not building a barn with big stalls. The only proposed new structure on down the road would be an indoor arena.
and then that would require a different special exception, so.
Yes. I've gotten this far, I've gotten 16 years without an indoor.
So you may
But-
not even use one,
But I put it on there just in case. The movement toward keeping horses outside, trails, people don't have trucks and trailers to go to Brown County, Salamone, Wildcat, Bloomington, Gosport. Everybody wants to be closer to home. I will have trails. The property will be, there's a border all the way around the property. It also will be an economic impact for the community too. People are going to want to spend their money here.
Okay, I'm going to share with you this from my perspective.
Sure.
I love what you're proposing, but I'm also hearing counsel, and I agree with his thought too. If I were you, based upon, and I'm going to get the rest of my board to at least have a verbal comment, I keep going what you're doing. But I think in all fairness to this community and to make sure that we get this thing done right, give us another 30 days with our new council, our new director, and let us have more time to digest this. But I would continue the path you're going down, because I honestly believe there is nothing in here that's going to be a problem with us granting you approval of this project. So let me, and I want 3 other people to say, I'm agreeing with Kurt, or he's stupid again. So, but you're hearing from me, I don't have any issues whatsoever what you're proposing. I think it's going to be a betterment to South Madison County. That's where I live, as well as Greg, and so kudos from my seat. And so
I agree with you. There are some things that we need to nail down a little more.
Just a little tighter. And I mean, I'm not talking major, but just tighten things up to the language so that, like council said, once we put that special use in place, guess what? We're stuck with
Correct.
this, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not an indictment on you at all.
No, I
Please.
Understand that.
Yeah.
Right.
But
it's going to be a huge improvement.
Oh.
We haven't had a detailed,
no.
This detailed since
it scared me when I got it. I was like, who is this guy, an attorney, accountant? I mean, you had more hats than I even had as far as what you've done in the past to show your credibility.
If she gets out of horse business, you need to hire her for the county.
So.
I understand where you're coming from. For me, time is of the essence.
No, I understand that. But my comment or my direction to you would be the fact that we can't get this, if we don't get approved today, 30 days, if I were you, keep moving forward what you're doing, because I don't see this being hindrance getting this approved.
I am going to keep moving forward. I've got equipment sitting out there. Yeah. I've got an excavator. There's a dozer and a skid steer. I can only run one at a time.
I know. And you're dealing with weather.
The problem I'm having is I've been doing a lot of this stuff by the seat of my pants as far as listening to people. Yes, we're going to do this. Yes, we're going to do this. You need this, you need that. I've already dumped thousands into this property, and I haven't purchased it yet.
Right, I understand.
It's got to go through IDEM. By it not going through today stops everything. Stops me from getting my loans. Stops me from figuring out where I'm going to live. It stops me from moving these horses at the end of March. It could potentially make me lose my business. I'm jumping into this by the seat of my pants, hoping to keep my business. That's all I want to do. So if there are some special exceptions we need to do now to make this go, I'm ready to listen, but I've pushed this as hard as I can.
I know. But I think what we need, and this is us being selfish now, for the protection of our community and for our citizens and to do our job due diligence, we need time to collectively sit down and think beyond what we have read. Trust me, you've spent a lot more time envisioning and thinking this out than we have collectively, right? This is your baby. I read this material and I was impressed. I mean, really impressed. But Counselor had brought a couple things like, I hadn't thought about that. So what else have I not thought of? What are we missing, right? And so our job is to protect our community. And so thus, I'm of the opinion, I need to table this to protect our decision moving forward. And I hate that from the bottom of my heart, because I know where you're coming from. I really
Yeah.
do. I was a business owner for many years, and I get it. I really do.
We could continue this to a date and time certain sooner than
Than 30 days?
than our March meeting.
Okay.
It's not gonna take 30 days
No.
for Rachel to look at it and us to nail down the conditions with her. It will not even close. I think a couple weeks.
Because I really want to get this loan rolling before the rates go up.
Sure.
I mean, it's.
I would be in
Money.
agreement
Yeah.
to call a special meeting
You
is,
wouldn't even have to call a special meeting.
well, you can continue it. Do not adjourn this meeting.
No, just continue this hearing until
Yeah.
a date and time certain. You continued your others until March.
Mhm.
But
But
this
this-
one doesn't have to be. This one could be whenever we can get a quorum, we can get this room available.
As long as it's not on a Wednesday.
I tried to get it as complete as possible.
And you did.
You did, yeah.
That's why
Yes,
we're so.
you did a great job.
That's why it's so hard for us to table it, because I know what you put into it. I really,
Yeah.
there's no question.
I mean, I have
I know.
files like this on this.
I appreciate you condensing it for me, because
What is the second, 2 Wednesdays, or not 2 Wednesdays, but 2 Tuesdays? Is there anything on the agenda in here?
Planning Commission.
Planning.
Nothing, yeah,
Is that on the 8th,
be March 8th.
March 8th? Yeah, that's planning.
the drainage board on Wednesday, nothing Monday, Thursday.
What about
Of course,
late?
you can do it in the afternoon.
Yeah, what about late morning, maybe 11? Plan usually don't take 2 hours. You do it at 11? Got,
I'm wide open.
I can make it work, as long as it's
That
not
would
on a
work for me
Wednesday.
because I'll be here.
you'll be here anyways, and so will John. Well, John's not on the BZA, but
Yeah.
The 8th at 11?
yeah, but that would require a motion.
I make a motion, we continue this meeting until March 8th at 11 a.m.,
Right here.
right here in the Commissioners Court.
Second.
We have a first and a second to continue this. Get a roll call. Stacy, please.
Yes. Lisa Hobbs,
Yes.
Corey Belander,
Yes.
Jerry Stan,
Yes.
Kurt Stevenson.
With heavy heart, yes.
You want a copy of this one?
Can I get a copy of your,
Since we've tabled everything else for the day, we need to look back on the minutes from our last meeting. We actually tabled the approval of minutes from our November 23rd, because we didn't have a quorum, and we don't have a quorum again today, so we're gonna have to table this again till our next meeting.
Stacy, could you put that on the agenda for the March meeting to approve the November minutes?
Because John is not here, and Lisa abstained, so we still don't have a quorum if we vote right now. Or a majority vote.
You
We'd
three.
have a quorum with three.
You three.
we could vote on, because we have 4 today, so we have 3.
We still have a
So
majority.
January
Right,
is
so,
approved.
yeah, you three would work. I would continue to abstain.
Or if they're in front of you, you could do it, or if you've read them as presented. You could put them again in front of you for the March meeting and clean it up then.
November
Like Jerry
1
said,
will
we
have-
don't want to ruin our perfect record of table.
Yes,
Where's your can? Let's kick it down the road again.
Yeah.
November would have to go in front of March.
So you made a motion to table it till the March meeting, the approval?
Correct.
Second.
Can you second it?
Yes, I'm here today.
Okay, all right. We have a first and a second. You want to roll call that again, Stacy, and we'll close this thing out?
Yes.
We've got one from the last petition, someone who wants to ask a question, so don't close, wait.
Okay, we will. All right.
Give it
Thank
a
you.
second. Thank you.
Lisa Hobbs,
Yes.
Corey Belander,
Yes.
Jerry Stan,
Yes.
and Kurt Stevenson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, before I've got someone that wants to speak, you said, please.
Okay, Morgan Finke. I live in an apartment. I don't know if that matters. So, professionally, my background address. Okay. My background is project and contracts management. I am personally a boarder with Kay, and I've been helping her with all of her documentation. So my question is specific to when we're going through if the path will be amending or updating, revising the business plan to be something that you would say, we agree, we understand, we approve. Is that something that can or will happen before that March 8th date, or is that something that maybe on that March 8th, like I have my laptop, is that something we can kind of in the moment get on mutual, page and update so that is something that you can approve, or is that something that would maybe be whittled over the next few weeks? Does that make sense? Okay.
Counselor?
I think that the plan, I think the plan would be to have staff and myself reach out to you two guys, contact you, get it really what we think we're really close enough for a staff recommendation. The board itself can always tweak it or throw it out completely, but generally they just cut away at the edges a little bit, so both. Most of it will be done ahead of time, and they may just accept it lock, stock, and barrel, because I think, unlike the other petitions, I know where all four stand on this one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Any other issues that we'd like to address at this time? If none, I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting. Nope.
Continue.
Not adjourned.
Don't.
Continue.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for correcting me. Move that we continue this meeting till
March 8th at
8th.
11 o'clock.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will continue to
Hammer away.
we
get
will.
in trouble for cleaning it up because somebody wanted something and I thought was not necessary.
And Rachel, welcome.
Thank you, I appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went.
That mayor of ours is like.